Hi friends, it's Tilly. I just wanted to make a little update. I'm not going to be long here. I don't feel so good. I think I have a urinary tract infection, and I think I've had it for a really long time. Now that I'm understanding what the symptoms are and everything. Why do I keep getting those marks? Anyway, so it's been 2 days since anyone's heard from Paul. Or at least since Renee's heard from Paul. And he was actively emailing and. So he was gonna go and see what's up. I don't have the best feeling about it, but I feel like if he had already passed, I feel like Renee would have found out because he does have contact info and has been texting one of Paul's exes. As far as the cancer or whatever, Renee's not asking very many questions, and that's one area that we're so opposite, and I would want to know all the details and like exactly what we're dealing with here with Paul. But Renee, I think, is afraid, and he sort of he justifies it, or he explains it away by saying, that it's not his business to know. But I think at this point it's kind of obviously like no one is gonna know if they don't ask. Anyway, he had visited on Easter. They had a better visit. It was the first time Paul was not asking to be brought home. And when I heard that, I kind of wanted to just cry when he was telling me about their visit. But they laughed together. Renee snuck him some donuts, which I think is stupid, but hopefully that didn't do anything to him. Oh my god, what if he... Anyway. Yeah. So I guess that's the goal Renee has today, to try to go and figure out what's up. And, the cancer had spread, according to Paul. It was, went into his colon, and then, what was the last thing? There was another organ or something that it had spread to. It's horrific. It's horrific, it's morbid, it's the scariest movie that you've ever seen. It pales in comparison to watching someone whose body is overtaken by cancer, or I would imagine any kind of disease like that, and to have to watch them all the way to the end. I feel like I've cried about this. Why am I crying? Why? I'm pretty sure that Paul lost the memories of us hanging out a long time ago, because we didn't really get to spend very much time together. I really always wanted to talk to Paul, but I kind of wanted to talk to Paul more in a setting like mental health, like conversation, because I remember from the day I met Paul, he seemed very traumatized. I don't know why. I don't know the reasons, but he seemed very traumatized, and he seemed very susceptible to paranoia, delusion, all those kinds of things. And he really seemed like he needed somebody to talk to bad that understood these kinds of thoughts. Because I could see that, people would run from Paul because they would be scared. Old friends were frightened by him because all of a sudden it seems like he's slowly going nuts. And so I met him when he was sort of really starting to go downhill, probably because of this cancer that he didn't know he had yet. He had advised me a bunch on the getting my eyes tested, and you know what? I'm glad that he did, because that really did push me along with getting that glaucoma testing, and then, finding out that I didn't have glaucoma. It still is kind of a totally unresolved issue with my eyes, but it's not glaucoma, and, he kind of gave me the courage a little bit to just go and do even the brain scan part that I was really afraid to do. I remember he even, in his weird humor way, I was over there once visiting, and he had said to me, he was telling me, what they'll do for the testing and stuff. And I was really, paying, close attention to his every word, and he must have thought that was kind of funny, because he just started taking it down a road of horror. He's like, and then they'll put a long needle in your eye, and I'm like, doing all this, I totally believed him, and I'm following along, oh my god, are you serious? That's horrible. And then, he got a big laugh, and he said, I'm just kidding. It don't hurt. I mean, he was always, offering me, oh, I got some eye drops that, he used half of them, and they're probably expired and shit, but... And I remembered the other night, Renee brought something up about perfume, and I remembered suddenly another funny thing about Paul was that he was trying to get rid of some things in his house. From the time that I met him, it was really weird. It was like he had this very strong desire to sell his house and to get rid of things that he didn't need anymore. But yet he wasn't willing to part with a thing. I have boxes out there actually of books from him. But I remember how he wanted to find out what everything was worth if he could get any money for it. But anyway, I just remember laughing really hard. I thought Paul was just the funniest guy, such a weird, out there person. I didn't know he had brain cancer. Anyway, I'm kind of sad. And it's like when somebody's terminally ill and they're going, their organs are shutting down. It was kidneys, that's what he had said, was the latest. It's like, when is it appropriate to start to mourn the loss of them. You know that there's pretty much, I mean, I would never stop praying for a miracle, for something to come in and just like stop the cancer, man, just stop it. So I don't understand how we don't know how to stop cancer. And I know there's a million political like controversies and views and debates we could get into on that, but I'm just sticking with this statement. I don't understand why Paul cannot be saved right now. I don't understand why. There's so much money out there that people are just squandering away. And meanwhile, the people that are poor and they don't even have family left are dying in the hospital of a disease. I don't know. I kind of felt like I cried so hard in the last few days or like last week about all of it that I kind of almost got it out of my system and, you know, was sort of ready to hear the news that, you know, he had passed, but I don't know. Renee's not going the same way with his. He's kind of seeming to get more bothered and more upset. And we don't even know if he's there yet, Paul. But, you know, my dad is a pastor and we don't agree on many things in that regard, but I did pose a question to him. I said, Dad, do you think that it's right or is it okay to pray for someone to go faster? You know? And at the same time that I was asking that question to my dad, my good friend here, Nat, he said that. He texted me that, and he doesn't even really, he is not like a prayer guy so much. And he texted me that, you know, sometimes it's okay to pray for the pain to end. And my dad wrote back almost the same thing. He said, it's absolutely okay. He said to pray that somebody be taken out of the clutches of disease and pain, you know, is not something that's a selfish thing to do, you know? It just scares me. I feel like I shouldn't say that prayer. Alright, I'm doing laundry. Trying to reset my mood right now. See all these things on the... I have printed out all these pictures of the baby for the fridge.